What if Kobe played college basketball? Kobe's statue just got unveiled at Crypto.com Arena, and it got a lot of basketball fans going down memory lane, reminiscing about the late great's Hall of Fame career. Kobe is remembered as one of the game's most fearless competitors, demanding only the best of himself and his teammates over a career that featured 5 NBA championships, 18 All-Star appearances, 15 All-NBA team selections, 12 All-Defensive team selections, the 2008 NBA MVP, 2 NBA Finals MVPs. We've seemingly seen it all from Kobe, and we've seen him perform in all kinds of settings. We've seen high school Kobe highlights, Kobe at the Rucker Park. We've seen him playing at the Drew League during the NBA lockout. We've seen him in All-Star games, in a dunk contest, and even in the Olympics, where he won gold medals for the United States in 2008 and 2012. But there's one thing we haven't seen from him, and that's what his college career would have been like. Before any of the accolades and the Hall of Fame career, Kobe was a star player at Lower Merion High School in a suburb of Philadelphia. He made the varsity team as a freshman, but the team finished with a 4-20 record, and so he improved over the following 3 years and led them to a 77-13 record, playing all 5 positions. During his junior year, he averaged 31 points and was named Pennsylvania's Player of the Year, only to do it again in his senior year, adding also 12 rebounds, 6.5 assists, 4 steals, 3.8 blocks, leading his team to a 31-3 record. Kobe ended his high school career as the Southeast Pennsylvania's all-time leading scorer, surpassing Wilt Chamberlain. He was named Naismith High School Player of the Year, Gatorade Men's National Basketball Player of the Year, and was the McDonald's All-American. He would later enter the 1996 NBA Draft, and the rest is history. The debate about players being able or not to play in the NBA directly from high school comes back from time to time, especially when a high school prospect is shaping up to be great and has the size and the tools already to be a professional. I'll say right away, as much as I want players to have a certain level of maturity before the NBA and an education, this isn't what this rule is about. We all know this. It's about the NCAA making tons of money via TV deals and merch on the back of great prospects. It doesn't make sense for any employer to force a future employee into a situation they don't want, especially when they come from a poor background and or need the money to help their families. So if it really was only about maturity, the NBA would just set up financial advice programs and support systems for young players. But like I said, this is about NCAA revenue. Fortunately, the landscape has changed dramatically since Kobe's days, with nowadays American prospects playing pro overseas, in the G League, or even in other pro leagues in the US. But at the time, it wasn't like that, and Kobe had to make a tough decision. In 1996, it was still a trailblazing move for Kobe to jump from high school to the NBA without enrolling in college first, becoming only the 4th player to do so, following the footsteps of Moses Malone and KG. But let's imagine he didn't. Kobe had attention from all the top schools, the Michigans, the Villanovas, but having his pick of the litter, it came down to rivals North Carolina and Duke. Fortunately for this video, we don't have to search too much to figure out where Kobe would have ended up. He said it himself. Although he was recruited heavily by UNC, Coach Dean Smith figured Kobe was definitely going pro and stopped chasing after him. On the other hand, Coach K kept at it, and that's who Kobe said he would have played for. They'd eventually be reunited years later for the Olympics, but Kobe never wore the Blue Devils jersey. During the real-life 96-97 college basketball season, while Kobe was being introduced to the world in the NBA, Duke had a pretty successful season, finishing with 24-9 record and losing in the second round of the NCAA tournament. But having Kobe in the team might have made a difference. We're starting off the 96 season ranked 9th in the country in the media poll, with our rival UNC placing at number 2. Alright, so Kobe's first college game is a non-conference game against Harvard. The game is nationally televised, as everyone is excited to see Kobe in a Duke uniform. Big program coaches like to start the year against weaker teams to tweak their lineups, try different plays, and give their players confidence. Coach K tries starting Kobe at point guard, but ends up keeping his minutes very limited. He would still finish with 13 points on 50% shooting, adding 2 steals and 1 block, showing glimpses of what he could contribute to the team going forward. The next game is a convincing win against Binghamton, with Mamba dropping an efficient 10 points in limited minutes again, but this time at the shooting guard position. Duke would then beat New Hampshire with a large margin, led by Kobe's 24. He's given more minutes and more freedom, but struggles to keep his volume shooting efficient, especially from deep. He then has an 18-6-3 game with 3 blocks against Eastern Kentucky, and looked more comfortable with his role in minutes, but his first real test would come in the next game against his first-ranked opponent, 4-1 Wisconsin. And he went crazy. Determined to show how he performs against top competition, Kobe had maybe his best game yet. In only 24 minutes, he scored 21 points on 8 of 15 shooting, including 4 threes. He also raked in 2 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks, with only 2 turnovers, even though he had the ball in his hands most of the time he was on the floor. Unfortunately, the Blue Devils couldn't come out on top. This was mostly due to foul problems and poor rotations, but team defense can get fixed as the season goes on. The main thing was, Kobe was putting the league on notice, and NBA scouts were paying close attention. The next few games were easy wins against Davidson and Michigan, followed by a weird upset loss to Albany. Turnovers tell the story of this one, and maybe the team was too focused on the upcoming matchup against 14-ranked Pittsburgh. Going into it, Kobe was third in the ACC in scoring, averaging 16 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and almost 2 blocks, in less minutes than any of the other top scorers in the conference. Even though his scoring was a given, it's a sneaky defense that was already making him the projected top pick in the draft. His next game proved to be a statement game, for Kobe making 8 of 11, including 3 of 4 from deep, adding to his blocks as well. But I guess things were too good to be true. A few games later, early in the first half against Temple, Kobe suffered a separated shoulder and would be out for 3 weeks. I looked it up. It's not as gruesome as it seems. It's an injury to the top of your shoulder where the collarbone meets the shoulder blade, but it can be mild if ligaments are just sprained. So there you have it, 3 minutes in, and they also lost the game. Kobe took longer than 3 weeks to make sure everything was right. He rehabbed hard and got back on the court against UNC, but things didn't go as planned. His shooting was off, and although he contributed in other ways, dropping dimes and being relentless on defense, Duke was embarrassed. His next game went well as he got back to his usual self. He led Duke to dominating the conference, and with his eyes set on the last game of the regular season, he got his revenge against North Carolina. He needed to show out both for the fans and to prove to the scouts that the injury was fully done with, and he did just that, with a 23-point performance, adding a casual 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Alright, so the ACC tournament was a breeze for Kobe and the Blue Devils, starting with a double-digit win over Florida State, in which everyone contributed. The second game was a rematch with North Carolina, where Kobe had maybe his best game of the season, dropping 35. And finally, the conference championship game was against a tough Clemson team that just couldn't handle our 3-guard lineup, with the Mamba having a now expected stat line of 23, 5, and 5, with 2 steals and 2 blocks. But no time to celebrate, as it was time for the NCAA tournament. I spared you the first round blowout against Stephen F. Austin, a team that just couldn't compete with Duke. The second round was going to be a lot tougher though. The Indiana game was a back and forth affair the entire way through. Indiana had a lot of returning 3rd and 4th year players that proved hard for Duke to contain. The game was a grind and it came down to the wire. After Coach K had exhausted his timeouts, Indiana scored a go-ahead bucket with 4 seconds left on the clock, and Kobe had to shoot a Hail Mary from the half court and came up short. Despite a tough end to the season, Kobe was named a second-team All-American and the Conference Freshman of the Year for the ACC. He then declared for the draft as a projected lottery pick. And then you can make scenarios about what you think would have happened. 97 was the year Tim Duncan got drafted with the #1 pick, so who knows. But that's it for the video. Please leave a like and a comment to let me know you enjoyed it so I know to make more. Thanks for watching, and peace out.